Alright, so I think everybody who's ever dealt with a transmission that utilized a stock end on their shift linkage like this one that is held in place with a pinch pin like this understands the frustration of trying to get this pin out. It's extremely difficult. Even when enough anti-seize is used, sometimes they can be a little bit tricky if the holes haven't been cleaned regularly and if it hasn't been removed recently, so sometimes they can give you a bit of a problem. Also, these pins, once crushed, usually allow for a little bit of free play. I've seen several of these in much worse condition than mine on this particular transmission, where the holes will actually be a bit rounded out, and so this actually will add an additional bit of free play into the shift linkage, whereas when you are shifting or moving the shifter around in the car, it will actually rotate ever so slightly against the shaft on the transmission itself. With the incorporation of the upgraded shifter bushings that you can see, one is in here, you can take almost all of the slop out of a factory linkage. There's always going to be a little bit of play that's built into the shift shaft itself that goes into the transmission. But the last part that I've always wanted to be able to eliminate was the amount of play that you can get in certain transmissions on this shaft with this pin, and also to make it to where this pin is much easier to remove. And I've come up with a solution that I think I will enjoy, and I will be willing to offer for sale to the community if anyone is interested. And that's going to be this piece here. This piece is machined out of a solid piece of aluminum and is engineered to match fit with the currently available shifter bushings that fit into the stock piece here. So there will be no need to purchase additional bushings if you've already gotten Chedda J's shifter bushing kit. You can use those bushings on the piece that I have shown here. What this utilizes is a solid aluminum construction instead of the two tubes welded together to formulate the same shape. It works and functions in very much the same way. The only real difference comes from the way it is mounted onto the transmission. It utilizes a pair of set screws that I will take out now and show you. It uses one 1/4 inch set screw here, 1/4 inch drive set screw to lock the second set screw into place, to kind of use it as a jam nut. The one that is deeper into the housing here, the indentation or the end that sticks out of the set screw actually is a perfect fit for the hole on the shift shaft on the transmission itself, and so it actually gets an extremely tight fit once it is set down into this hole. It actually goes in through the top just by design. That's the way that it had to be machined. So I'm going to install it kind of upside down. When you are actually under the car, it will be accessible from the top side of the transmission, but it technically can go on either way. This is just, it has to go this way because there is actually a difference. There's an offset on the tubes where the end actually sits a little lower on one side, and best guess I can figure is that it was designed this way to allow for additional ground clearance for the shift linkage itself under the vehicle. And so by the design that it was required for the set screw, it actually goes into the top, but it can install either way. Just to show you on the video, you simply put the set screw into the hole and you line the line the set screw up with where you think the hole is on the transmission itself, and once you start to tighten it down, kind of give it a little wiggle, and it will actually self center into the hole in the shift shaft itself, holding it in place. And then I'm going to be using a little bit of Loctite on mine just for extra insurance, but then you will set the jamming set screw on top, snug it down to lock the first set screw into place just to ensure that it does not back out over time. And there you have it. It is now locked to the shift shaft. there is no play between the piece here that we've machined against the shaft here on the transmission. It is a 1-to-1. All of the movement you see in the linkage is now actually in the shift shaft itself, twisting inside of the transmission. And it does not pull off. I've ripped against this thing on the workbench. I'm going to do quite a bit of hard shifting and testing once I actually get the transmission put back in the car. I came up with a bunch of different solutions that would have been a bit more complicated that I thought might have been necessary to hold this onto the shaft to keep it from being just simply pulled off of the transmission. But the machinist that I've been consulting with, who's been in the industry for a whole lot of years, has assured me that this design is actually going to be quite stable and more than sufficient to hold this piece onto the shift shaft itself. And I'm prone to believe him because of the way that I've been able to kind of bench test it. I think I've put more force pulling against this, trying to get it off of the shift shaft, than it's ever going to see at the end of a shift lever under the car itself. But if it does prove to be problematic, I can make a slight additional change to the design if necessary. But I have just got this piece mounted here, and I'm going to just take it back off now. And the beauty of this design is that it can actually be easily removed. I've been in a situation before where I've needed to actually remove the transmission from the car in a parking lot or in a driveway, and it's been extremely hard to get the pin out of the car itself. And not only that, but sometimes those pins can either be bent and need to be replaced, or just seized into the place. And it's almost impossible to get them out. And so I've utilized this design to eliminate both the pin and the slop that is incorporated with a worn out joint, and also the pin design itself. These will be available for sale soon once I do get a bit of testing under my belt on them. Pricing and availability is going to be subject to the amount of interest on the product itself. So look for more information on that. If you have any critiques or comments on the design of the product, or if you are interested in possibly purchasing one yourself, feel free to reach out to me, and look forward to more information on these soon. Thanks, guys.